we have seen the track 4, track 5, track 6, track 8, and track 7, where we went through each of the phases. Like first, we started with the implementation, and we discussed about the difference between SAP methodology and SAP Activate. So we also understood like what are the uses of the iterations, and, what are the key steps in Activate methodology. And in the Activate methodology, we have the PERD, the preparation, explore, and then real and
Realize.
deploy. Yeah, so we
Yeah.
went through each of the phases, and then we have discussed about what is going to happen in each of the phases. As part of prepare, we went through the PTO guide, and like when it has to be by when it has to be ready, and what it has to be in there as a document. What are we going to add in the document, and who will be the major stakeholders and key responsible persons, and the discovery workshops, like what are we going to discuss and all that. So then the decision checklist also, we and discovery workshops, sometimes it is also called as kickoff meetings in some places, so that we discussed. And then we also discussed about the workbook, which is in the success factor space. And then we discussed about the 3 types of iterations, like 3 phases, like what are we going to do in the first phase. We take off the sign off, and then we we do the configuration, and then we take the sign off. And then in the second iterations, we do the 95% of system configuration and all that, and then we take the sign off. And in third iteration, it will be like complete configuration, 100% system readiness will be available, and then we take the final sign off. And then after the final sign off, we go to the go live phase, and then we have the post go live phase. And we also discussed that as part of AMS, we need to also ensure that the workbook has to be updated every 6 months. That is part of the prepare phase. And then when we go to the explore, like we have the art of possible workshop. So we discussed about how much, like we also discussed about a scenario wherein suppose if there is around 70% SAP provides, and 30% if it is not possible in ECP, then how are we going to handle that? So we saw different possibilities, like we give a workaround, and we also have a contract on how much we will be customizing, how much of customization work will be involved, and impact analysis on the customization. So that also will be part of the discussions, and change management. And we also discussed about the SAP add-ons, like we have the SAP extensions. So that also we discussed. And then, before go live testing, in testing phase, we have different types of testing, like UAT testing, integration, functional. So we have the training as part of the cutover activity. And then when it goes to go live, then next phase will be the hypercare, and it will be for 2 weeks, and then we also have discussed about the parallel runs. So what is parallel run and all that. So if we have a old legacy system, so we want to monitor for 3 months how the current whatever set payroll, how it is going to run on both the systems. We are going to monitor it for 3 months. That's what discussed. And as part of realization phase, then we discussed that we are going to send the workbook to the client for sign off. And then the realization phase, we discussed about the configuration, and we had round round robin, like the iteration, and then again it will come back to us, and then we'll have to. That is because we might find some issues at the data migration phase or at the testing phase, and then it comes back, and then we need to do the corrections to the configuration, and then again proper testing has to be done. So that is why we saw those circles in data migration on configuration phase. And then as part of deployment, deployment will be like 15 days. And then so we also discussed that about the organization preparation, cutover, and testing. So that will be the test key features. Like in the smoke testing is like in the production environment, we're just going to check not elaborately, but a few checks just to see if the system is all working fine, and all the configurations are all working as expected. So this was like in a nutshell what I explained you
No,
what we
no, it was not in a nutshell. You have explained very nice. I was just listening to you carefully. Even I was just looking at my notes. You have covered very nicely. Nice. So thank you. Appreciate for your
Thank,
understanding and everything. Right.
thank
Okay. So now with that note, we
yeah
will let's start with today's session. So today's, as I promised, we will be having going more into the practical aspects of it. And
yeah
also there are certain things which I left last time. I will be showing you that as well. Okay.
yeah
So
yeah
let me share my screen.
yeah
Yeah. So if you can see my screen, can you please confirm once?
yeah I can see your
Okay.
screen.
Okay. So before that, let me, as we are actually, I am also following a hackathon approach. Okay.
Yeah,
So generally, I expect, although it is at 30 days, but for you, let me 30 days is actually people who are going every day. So every day we are doing activities. So it's
yeah.
expected you are finishing 30 days, but you can
Oh,
take 60 to 90 days also. That is fine. Okay. But
okay.
what exactly? So this is a very generic hackathon. I see. I think I have not explained this to you earlier, right? Or is it?
No,
Did I explain?
no, this is the first
No.
time. Yes.
No, right. Okay. Just because I'm confirming because somebody else I think might have explained. But anyway, so this is a challenge actually I give my to students to kind of whatever you're learning. So that to have because already you are having an access to a EC payroll environment, right? At this moment, isn't it?
The thing is actually NILADRI, I'm not able to test it because that's the company set
Okay.
environment. So I will need the sessions for me, like I will need an environment for do the testing purpose. I can't do that in my office environment. So sorry about that.
Okay, no problem, no problem. At least, but you are able to access those things, right? At least even if you are not doing anything in that, right?
Yeah,
Might be some other team members doing, right? But at least you are having an
yeah,
understanding or access to it, right? That is
yeah.
also good.
Okay,
Not a problem.
sure.
Okay, because the challenge in EC payroll is the payroll compared to the other modules, Employee Central Payroll and LMS, actually the access is a problem. Okay, so for that
Yeah.
reason, I will be sharing some of the instance, but actually that is again limited. It cannot be accessed outside actually. So that's the problem. Okay.
Okay.
So, but
Okay.
anyway, I will help you in understanding so that it will be, you'll be able to understand because already you're having access, but at least even if you're not doing hands-on, but you will be at least understand what is happening, right? So that's
Yeah.
the idea. Okay.
Yeah.
So in the
Sure.
hackathon, what I generally do, the first day already, this is already the initial, generally I ask people to pick a product, whatever their interest actually. So
Mm,
generally for you, it is already success factor Employee Central Payroll. So it is not
yeah.
more relevant for you. Day
Yeah.
one already we have done that.
Yeah.
Day two already, I think, did you get a chance to go through PTO guide by any chance?
Uh,
You are
yeah.
aware of PTO,
I
right?
just went through, but not in detail, Niladri. So I need to spend
Okay.
some time on that. Yeah.
Okay, because this is something it is also it is my inline list actually. Generally,
Okay.
what I recommend to students, so whoever learners, so you have to understand what the product can offer and the product cannot offer. Last time
Yeah.
also we have discussed, right? Art of
Yeah.
possible, like what wherever it is not possible, because there's a cloud product, it may
Mm,
or may not be offering everything, whatever the client needs it. Okay.
yeah.
Over a period of time, they keep on improvising that product based on the customer feedback,
Yeah.
customer priorities. Let's say 1,000 of customers, they ask the same thing, right? Definitely they will be not, 1,000 is a very big number. Even if 50 customers ask it, actually SAP brings in that into the product. Okay, so this is the past from my past experience.
Mm,
Okay, 50,
yeah.
60 customers, even if they're voting, they do the voting. And if they want it, they generally, if it is a market ready, then generally SAP brings in that feature. So I will recommend to already, right? I have shared a document yesterday.
Yeah,
So in the group or in that very easy. So if you see, go there, go to EC payroll, the latest one will be always in the first column. So as per the January, this is a January 2023 document. So only 22/11, that means November 2022 release. Okay, you download for the timing as you're focusing on EC payroll, but it is also relevant for other modules also. If any of your friends are looking for, they don't have to spend lakhs in learning hub. Directly they can go and download this document. Very readily available. It's a very end user or as an admin user. And also a lot of things which is even a consultant should know. It is not like it's an admin guide. That doesn't mean it's so easy. Not so. There are certain technical aspects also in the admin and job where you will be getting it. Okay, that is the understanding. But I will recommend before we start the next session, at least you go through the PTO 100%. Okay.
Sure.
So that is the just to make a note of it. And we will be, if you have any question, definitely you can ask in the platform. Otherwise, we can also discuss in the session. That's the plan. Okay. So now coming to admin guide also, there are also systematic way of doing it. Actually, they have explained everything. Okay. So if you go to that guide as well. Okay. So if you go to the admin guide as well, it's a very detailed 60-70% of implementation, the front end actually, they generally cover it here. Suppose if you go there, so I think I have not downloaded now, but the latest one you will be finding here directly, okay, the admin guide. And you will be having all the details, let's say, it's a very comprehensive document, 100 pages around, but at least the front end, how the part of the different RBP looks like, all those topics actually you will be able to understand. Okay, and there are a few exercises as well, which we will be doing whatever possible in our demo environment. Okay, so there are a couple of them we will do. Okay, so as you see, this topic actually, the admin guide point of view, we have many topics here. Okay, so like topic 1 is theoretical. Okay, just like whatever in the PTO you have studied. Or you are going to study, same thing, nothing much. So you can quickly have a glance. Okay, nothing, there is no practical exercises for it. Unit number 2, it is all about the RBP. So you have a couple of exercises. Okay, and these are super easy exercises, nothing much. So there are different roles like in EC payroll. We have predominantly payroll administrator, payroll manager, your admin role. So those couple of things we will be few exercises, very easy exercises. Okay, we will be seeing it. Okay, nothing much. Okay. And unit 3, you can skip it because it's not related to ECP. This is purely a employee central thing, like how to hire an employee. It's very super easy. People who are very new, they can also do it. How to hire an employee, how to transfer an employee, all those stuff, right?
Okay.
So now coming to the important part is here in the unit number 3. So how the payroll data replication happens. I think you're already doing it, is it right?
I'm doing replications. Yes.
So you can share your story here. Okay, data replication monitor. What are the exactly you are doing? What kind of issues you are getting? And it is, if I am not wrong, it is connected to S4 HANA, is it, or how it is?
No, it is connected to the normal ECC backend.
ECC normal, your endpoint, your energy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
We don't have S4.
Not S4 HANA.
Yeah.
Okay. Not much difference. Only the in the S4 HANA only we will be having the mini master, and as well as those concept of business partner comes into picture. But that's a different thing. Okay, but if it is normal ECC, then it is not so difficult. Okay, so I think same thing. Okay, and how to update those employees is all a data entry part specific to payroll data only. Okay. So today what I am going to see, so some practical hands-on we are doing. So as an admin point of view, so why I am not going to technical side of it, because before we go to the technical side of it, that is the integrations and all, those are super little deep topic. But before that, we should know the fundamental of PCC. So what is a PCC? PCC is basically the which is a very unique thing for your cloud payroll. Okay, so that previously what happened, it is through people used to do everything through a transaction. If you remember, okay. So like in on-premise, everything what was done in the, for everything we have a T code. Okay. And but here, and also it is not a proactive. Suppose any issue comes out, you have to basically run a simulation payroll, then only you will be knowing. Before that, nobody will be going to tell that this many issues will be coming in the before running the payroll. Okay. So for that reason, this is something very unique. Okay, we will be seeing these things today. Okay, a couple of exercises we'll be doing. Okay.
Yeah.
So this is something which actually I have planned for today. And
Yeah.
before we go there, so I have some another task for you as for the hackathon. I have
Yeah.
already simplified that task for you so that it will be very easy. After that, I will explain.
Yeah.
Day number 3 in the hackathon, generally what I will do, generally I ask people to create user stories. Okay.
Okay.
So do
Okay.
you understand what is the user stories, right? What is the user stories?
Yeah, you said that like I mean last class we discussed like about the requirement, how we are going to do and what is it going to be like that. So
Yes, yes,
so what I
you are
need to
right.
do to be configure
Ha,
in
ha,
the system,
ha, ha.
value of it
Yes,
like that.
yes, yes, yes. So user stories are in simple language, these are nothing but your requirement. Okay.
Okay.
So whenever you're working for a client project, there are different ways of taking the requirement. But
Yeah.
as we currently, we have maximum people follow Agile, DevOps, all those kind of a model. And we prefer to have a user stories format. It is coming from the Scrum principle. People who are Scrum Master and all, generally those philosophy we actually we bring into our product, right? So
Yeah.
generally, most of the companies these days follow this thing. So for that reason, I have also included it. Previously, it was not in my previous batches and all last year. Whenever I was teaching, I was aware of it, but I actually I have not included as a part of the success factor, but many of the people actually saw in my current project also I'm using at this moment user stories and all this Jira and all the things at present we are using, right?
Yeah.
So for that reason, this is a new introduction in my current. This is the current in the first batch you are in, where exactly I have introduced this topic, and not only that, I've also given example. There's something I will show you.
Yeah.
Let me open the user story thing. I have prepared few user stories for you for payroll as well. So let me open that. Yeah. So can you see this is something? Let me other. Okay, another one I have created. Just a minute. Yeah. So this is the user story. I have just updated it today.
Okay.
It's specific to our success factor Employee Central Cloud Payroll. Okay, but anyway, this is also, I have not added any term called success factor inside the entire user story, because requirement, whenever you're taking those requirement, those clients that do not care what exactly product you are using. They have their own expectations and they have to, as a consultant, you have to analyze, or a business analyst, general business analyst, they do the analysis. But in a small project, we generally, as a consultant or as a functional consultant, we are responsible for providing a solution for it. Okay, so I do have around 40 user stories, 40, including payroll manager, payroll administrator, and some of the jobs actually also may be overlapping. Okay, and for employees, I do have 10 user stories. Okay, so when I say employee, this is just like you, me, or anyone. Okay, just like I should be able to. So how the structure looks like is I have means typical user story. Generally, we follow this template. Okay, this is the same thing actually what I have done in the Word. Actually, in this app I have added. Also, I'm adding in here in the template as well.
Okay.
So what I have done, the template looks like this. So the template looks like, let's say like this, as the first column is always a user story ID. It is company specific. So I have just given some generic ID like this. CP means cloud payroll and SF means success factor -001. So this is the naming convention I am following. It is up to your organization what naming convention you will be following. Okay, that is the theme. Now, column B is the persona. Okay, persona in the sense who will be this requirement is for whom, right? The like whether a payroll administrator will be doing that activity, or a payroll manager will be doing that activity, or an employee will be doing that activity. Whose requirement is this? Who wants this, right? So this is a persona. So how you will be reading it? So as a payroll administrator, I want, okay. So payroll administrator, what he or she wants to view and manage all employee payroll information in one central location. So it is his requirement. So that I can in the sense, I means payroll administrator here. Okay. So that means actually it is a value. So what value will be getting by doing that? Okay. Generally, people follow the clients generally give the requirements, right? But as a consultant, we should also ask why that is important. That is the actual consulting. Okay, so whenever the client is asking a lot of requirements, it is not like we are an order taker, rather we are value giver, right? We should provide the value. Whatever the client is asking, we should understand the behind the scene, what exactly they wanted and why they wanted. Okay, so the why part is discussed here in the column number D. So that I can do this, I can access this update employee data as needed. Okay, so a lot of factor you'll be seeing. Similarly, you see any of these things to set up and manage automatic payroll processing so that everything is generated and on a regular schedule without any manual intervention to save the time of the clients. Okay, so this is how generally we can translate all any requirement of your clients into this kind of templates. Okay, so I will take a pause here. So let me know if you understood the entire this topic, how we take the requirement.
Yeah, I understood this. It was clear.
Got it, right? So what I will be giving to you as a task, okay? So actually I have already filled up around around 2021 section. Okay. So what you have to do, it is a very not so very difficult task to do. So I have 50 requirements here. So I will be sharing both the sheet with you. Okay.
Yeah.
So this is a, let's say this sheet is coming from the client. Okay. So there's a client, I'm not so tech savvy. Let's say I added all my requirement in a simple Word document. Okay. So this document I will be sharing with you. So which is having around 50, okay, 40 requirements for your payroll manager as well as payroll administrator combiningly. There can be some overlap as well. Some of the requirements may be overlap, okay, because maybe the payroll manager or payroll administrator may be different, okay. But for employee, it is straightforward 10, okay. But it is not the last end of the story.
Yeah.
You can, that is not a mandatory as of now, but because these requirements will keep on improving as we move on project to project, country to country. Different country also will be having their own requirements. So as I understood, you'll be focusing on UK. So as present, what I have not done is it is not very UK specific. So what you can do as a learner, you can add few more things which is specific to UK payroll. Okay. So you can prepare, okay, as of your, so it is not, there is no hard timeline for this. You can take your time, maybe 1 week, 2 weeks, or whatever, whenever you are free. Prepare some user stories, and I would like to I'll be interested to know what is not included in this 50 stories. Okay, so very specific. Definitely, I have not added anything in the UK specific because I have made it very generic for every student. Okay, so you can prepare some stories, maybe for admin, maybe for employee specific. There will be definitely a lot of, because in UK you have a very specific thing. Okay. So you can prepare user stories. So that will be a second task for you. So first task is for you today was PTO reading and ask question. And second task is actually to, I will be sharing these two things. Like that is an action item for me. Or my action item will be share user stories. Both template. I will be sharing both this application template as well as that Excel. And you will be preparing that. Maybe you take your 1 week or 2 weeks, whatever your time, and you can share with me once it is updated. Okay, so that is your task. For user stories. So it will be very helpful in the future whenever, because it is very systematic. So you also, it gives clarity. First of all, if your any client requirement comes, if it is not the concrete, it is very difficult for a consultant to do the analysis, whether it is possible or not, and do the analysis, right? So forget about the solutioning, right? If the client requirement is very not clear, like crystal clear like this, it will be very difficult for us also to analyze whether it can be done in the system or cannot be done, or is there any other solution at a possible, you have to think about it, right? So for that reason, I promote this from this hackathon onwards. in this since last January, this January onwards, actually I'm promoting this to all my students, not only for this module, but also for other modules like recruiting, onboarding also. I've started the same principles. It will be very helpful, not only in your current company, maybe in the whenever you'll be applying for any future jobs also, if you are very well versed in kind of a documenting all this kind of a thing, right?
Yes.
So it will be very helpful. Also, it will be helpful for your testing as well. Okay, so what exactly the end result you want, outcome? Okay, it will be very easy for a tester also. What exactly you can prepare very good test scripts also. So that is the idea. Got it?
Okay,
So
sure.
this is the third thing which I thought of sharing with you. And before we go to the practical hands-on, the day 4, which is actually I generally see, this is also an exercise, but I'm not accepting, means I'm expecting this to immediately to do it. But there are process diagrams, ALP, IDP diagrams. So did you know where exactly these are or where available these documents are? Any idea?
No, I haven't gone through. No.
Okay, so PTO guide is very simple. Okay, so that is a for an admin point of view or a for let's say your end user point of view to start with. That is very good guide. Okay, but as we aspire for a consulting role, okay, already maybe you will be working, let's say, in a project manager, or in the future you will be working as a solution architect. Okay, so in
Yeah.
those kind of role, we have to be very technical. We have to talk technical technology, technical
Sure.
words we have to use. And for that, out of these three, we have processes, again, very simple. But ALP, IDP, you have to understand. What is an ALP? It is an architectural leading practices. Okay, which is again, when I started, it was not there. 2016, when I started in SuccessFactors, Employee Central Payroll, this kind of documentation was not there. But over a period of time, from SAP and its own experience and the different clients' feedback and all, they developed this kind of a documentations. So to help to understand how the EC payroll, overall architecture, what are the different leading practices, what are the different design principles we have to follow, SAP has come up with that. Okay, so this is something which I will be sharing today, so that you can take 2 weeks of time, okay, or 2 to 3 weeks of time to digest, because this is something little technical in nature. Okay, even I am running few videos, but it will take some more time because every week I'm doing only one video for that in the YouTube. But it will take a lot of time to complete that. But at least before we go for ALP IDP, let me share where exactly we will be finding them. Okay.
Yeah.
So do you have an account for SAP Community Network, right? Where we ask questions. Do you?
No, I don't have for community, but Launchpad
Okay.
I do have.
Launchpad is fine. So if you are having Launchpad, then it is very easy. So actually, this is also using the same user ID, S user ID, you can log in. So I will just tell you what are these three documents are. So yesterday only I bookmarked for my preparation. Otherwise, I always used to search for this. Okay.
No.
So now, first three things, and the process library. So first one I will explain the process library.
Yeah.
So if you go there, so the link is very simple. I will just also put into the chart so that you can copy and bookmark it, because it is not only for Employee Central Payroll, but for the entire products, any products in SAP SuccessFactors, it is relevant. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So this is the actually the process library where you will be getting all the processes for any. But as we are focusing on our Employee Central Payroll, so we will be going for here. So you'll be using the downloadable because we want a download of those. Okay. Although it is in my platform, but still I recommend to go for here because anything. So everything will be finding directly from here. Okay. So here, very nicely, they have presented for every module. OM, your organization management, HR admin means your typical Employee Central. Okay. So do not get confused. Okay. So when it comes to the payroll, these are the three things we do have: process diagram, process summaries, and leading practices. Okay. So if you go here so this is very simple. Okay. Process diagram and process summary, what is the difference? Process diagram is all the processes for payrolls are explained here, like pre-payroll, post-payroll, during the payroll, what is happening. Okay. And process summary is actually the text version of those diagram. Okay, so whatever diagram you will be seeing here, let's say this diagram you're focusing. So it is a 20 pages, but excluding your cover pages and all, around 15 pages it will be. Okay, so if you see here, suppose I'm talking about the payroll, right? The pre-payroll, run payroll, post-payroll, then periodical activities. These are your major process groups actually. Okay, and if you go further, say let's say pre-payroll, what are the things we do? And it is very specific to success factor, not the generic one. Okay, say in the pre-payroll, these are the 6 activities we do. Okay, like initiate payroll period, manage master data, okay, starting with and ending with process payroll data alert. So you'll be able to understand what exactly we do. Okay, so now if you go further like this, like who will be doing that? Okay, so you can see there is a role, payroll manager. Can you see in the vertical way it is written like that? Payroll manager will be doing this activity, and when he will be doing that activity, this is the process. Okay, this is how your typical process flow looks like. Okay, so here you can see managing master data for payroll is a very lengthy process because a lot of master data are involved, and many or condition you can see, like what are the different employee event. Okay, whether it is employee transfer or it is a salary adjustment is happening. In such cases, employee data will be getting updated. Okay, so these are different scenarios, and wherever you will be seeing this is a color code like this kind of a color. This is something where data replication is happening, or is there any EC mashup is happening like that. Okay, so this is also very important to understand before we go to the system. Okay, at a process level, what are the things are happening, and it will take some time to take your time and go through each and every process, so that whenever we'll be going to the system and we'll try to explore this details, it will be very easy for us. That's the understanding. You got it?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, yeah. So it is very easy. So the diagram is there. And also if you need an explanation, so this is the process summary. It is the same thing only, but it will be narrating. Okay, whatever you have seen there. Okay, let's say I'm talking about a managed master data for payroll, which we have seen just now. Okay. So if I go to the managed master data for payroll, it will be saying these are the start event, this is the end event. So if I go to the diagram as well, managed master data for payroll, you can see there are how many events? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Salary adjustment, employee data upload, personal data. The same things it will be also here. You can see same 6 things. Can you see that?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So if when the managing, whenever we are any master data is updated, we are updating. What is the start event? In such scenarios only we update the master data for an employee, whether it is a new hire, whether there is any termination or is there any transfer happening. In all the scenarios, we will be having actually the master data updation. Okay. And once who will be doing that activity? The payroll admin and HR admin, they will be doing, and this is the end event actually. Okay. So this is the understanding here. So now after understanding this, we will actually see your payroll from a payroll process point of view. Okay. So now this is where this process diagrams and process summary, they talk to each other. Okay. So this is a diagram and this is where the explanations are given. So this is, and also from success criteria point of view, what are the different, how you will be knowing this process is successful. This has been covered here. Okay. So this is something we have this is an exercise for you, and you can go through each and every processes, the process diagram. These are all standard processes. But when it comes to your client, it can be some variations, right? Because you may have some extra portlet or extra info types for your clients. Okay. Accordingly, you can take the inspiration from this diagram. You can draw your own, and accordingly, you can prepare your this process maps using your Microsoft Visio or any other tools, whatever, right? Yeah. That is the thing. I thought the thought of sharing so that it will be, so that it should not be skipped. Actually, this is also a very important thing. Process, we call it process diagram, process summaries. And another thing which I was talking about, the leading practices. So leading practices means this is again, what are the best practices the client should follow? This is an ideal document, good to read, and you can go through this reading as well. So this exercise, I'm just taking at least 2 to 3 weeks of time and prepare notes. And if you have any question, definitely you can ask those questions. Okay. So whenever you are doing any managing payroll, what are the benefits? Okay. So client may be asking, right? Why should we go for employee payroll control center, employee central payroll? So these are the few benefits. Okay. So you should be able to answer all these things. Okay. Similarly, whenever you're operating, you're having data in Employee Central, then what is the benefit? Okay. So let's say the client may tell that we are happy with on-premise SAP HCM, right? Why should we go for? So definitely these are the points actually which you can bring in so that you can explain to the client. Okay. So for everything, they have a benefit. Without benefit, nobody is doing any work in the business, right? At least there should be some value. There should be some cost reduction, or then any increase in value, so that they already any save in time. So these are different benefits. For everything, you will be finding this kind of benefit, what will be the advantage of doing all this activity. Okay, so all those things actually have been explained here, and you should be very much fluent on this kind of a terminology or benefits. Whenever a client has having any objection, or during the payroll or before the payroll or taking this product, right? Definitely you should be able to pitch in this idea. Okay, so this is something for our consumption only. This is not something we share with the client, but we will be this is for our knowledge, and we explain in our workshop all this. So for that reason, so I expect also this document you should not skip. Okay, implementation guide is very straightforward. Okay, but these are the something which is very we have to speak this language, okay, of the cloud to the customer. Okay, so that is something I just thought of sharing with you. This is I talked about process library. So process library has three components. One is process diagram, process summary, and leading practices. This three document. Okay. And you will be able to download in the link which I have shared with you. Okay? So anyway, I will be putting the link also in the platform. But for now, you just save that link. Maybe after the session, you can download whatever the documents which I have shared. So this was regarding the PL, or the process library I talked about. Okay. So now I will go to the another important document which is known as ALP. ALP stands for Architectural Leading Practices. Okay. So why ALPs are required? Whenever any kind of implementation you are doing, okay, any kind of HXM, your human experience management or success factor implementation you are doing, this document will be very helpful during the early stages of your project. Okay. So ideally we should be aware of, okay, so this asset, and there are some generic documents as well, like what should be the instance, or how you should do an integration, what should be suppose the client will ask to share a document, how we are planning for integration, how we are planning for testing. So all those actually guides are already readily available specific to success factor. Now coming to the payroll, how it will be beneficial for payroll also, they have a dedicated process strategy document. Okay, so this is something I thought of sharing with you, which you should go through about it. Okay, so this is a document, and how it will be different from your other guide. So here it will be, you will be able to understand the end-to-end thing. Okay, how Employee Central Payroll, if it is implemented with other modules in the project, how it will be impacting. You can see how the process interactions will happen, how the data flow will happen, how the process flow will happen, right? So here they talk about different interactions. Okay, so if you're implementing Concur, you know, right? What is the Concur? Your travel and expense.
Travel and expense.
Yeah. So that module, if you are integrating, if you are implementing, let's say, Employee Central Payroll with any third-party external vendor, how those process interaction will happen. These details you will never get in other implementation guides in a very systematic way. So for that reason, SAP carved out these things, and they prepared a very nice document, especially for the people who are delivering those solutions, or you can say the primary audience is actually the consulting people only, like us. Okay. Or in the company, if there is any service team, architectural service team, so generally those people will be going through this document. And from a ECP point of view, if you see, these are something which you will be finding very detailed way, what are the different processes in payroll we follow, what are the different business value, what are the different interactions with other modules also you will be finding here in this module. Okay, so this is very helpful, and these are the different interaction generally happens. Currently, you may not be using S4HANA, but let's say you are using ECC. Okay,
Yeah.
so how ECC will talk to Employee Central in terms of a finance? Because if you talk about cost center we maintain in the finance system, right? We
Yeah.
Employee Central is a consumer. Generally, in the finance will be the master data for cost center. Okay, so how those things will be transferring, how those this interaction will happening. So there are around 14 such interactions that talked about. Even if in current project you are not using everything, but you should be at least aware of what are the different interaction happens, and those details are covered in this guide actually. Okay, so architecture leading practices, including a flow. Okay, suppose somebody will be asking to draw an architecture diagram for how the interaction will happen from EC to Employee Central Payroll, or through entire how it is also talking to finance system. So they have not mentioned here in S4HANA, but when I say finance system, definitely it can be your S4HANA or ECC finance system plus or any other third-party integration if you are doing. Okay, for US, it is a garnishment, or any country if you're doing any kind of a tax reporting, filing and all. So all those details, third-party integrations, you will be finding here easily. Okay, so that is something I recommend to go through. This is not so difficult, but at least you should be aware of. Okay, then also how the process interaction happens systematically 1, 2, 3, 4 like that. In the point system, actually the numbering also they have done. So it's very easy for you to understand, and also the flow you will be able to understand. Okay, maybe currently you are not implementing concur or benefits. Okay, compensation you have not included. Maybe in the future if you are planning. Okay, so where it will fit in. Okay, so you should be able to understand. Just like it is like making a building. Okay, suppose you are having your own building and all. There is a lot of engineering process happens. You have to design. There will be interior design and exterior design. Everything you have to think and plan, right? So this kind of documentation definitely will help you, okay, to understand your architecture. Even if you have already implemented, you should be able to draw this diagram. So in the project also, you can talk if somebody is playing this kind of a role. Okay, at least this would be some kind of a documentation. This document is very important. And here generally we cover 14 cross-module process flow. So when I say cross-module, what does it mean? Beyond Employee Central Payroll, EC Payroll to the other modules. That is something which we should be aware of. So got it. So this is something at a very high level I try to explain. But here, I will be recommending go through, and it will be very helpful in the future as well. So that you will be able to understand the interaction between different modules of system when it with respect to EC Payroll. Got it?
Yeah.
Any question? So I will take questions later on, but at least you should go through. This is a lot of material, but not so difficult, but it is good to understand these things. Okay? So this is something very helpful.
Yeah.
Now coming to the last part of this, so that is your, we understood now the ALP understood. Now we're going to IDP.
Yeah.
So IDPs are nothing but this is more of a guidance specific to the customer requirement. Okay. And also there are some frequently asked questions generally from a client's perspective. Those are actually discussed here, okay, in the IDP space. Okay. And now coming to the IDPs, we do have, I think for ACP, they do have IDP or not, I'm not sure, but let me check it out. ACP, I think some integration, there will be IDP. Let me check it out. Payroll. Yes, we do have. Yeah, Employee Central managing payroll relevant data changes. If you're doing any changes in the specific to the payroll, okay, data, what will happen to the Employee Central? That is one IDP is there. Similarly, specific to your migration, many projects these days, they are moving from on-premise to Employee Central Payroll, right? So what will be the scenario? Okay, how will be integrating? This is like, again, a very interview question, very specific interview question also you can get it. Okay, so regarding this, you'll be getting, this is a Word document. Okay,
Yeah.
so IDP documents are mostly Word document, not a PPT. So these are again prepared by mostly SAP or any partner company, if you can see here. Okay, partner companies, they also contribute. Okay, so here you will be finding what could be the functional requirement, what could be the client then generally ask in the scenario. So you will be finding very detailed case studies as well. Okay. So what could be the possible scenario? What could be the scope of the project? Okay. These are again like what are the you have been using in the SAP ERP HCM and which module will take care of that in success factor. Okay. So this is completely scenario. So we can also see the client question, how this process will be managed, what are the key decisions to be done. Okay. And also the scope of the project. Okay. So very detailed they have explained functional scope and technical scope. This is actually very good read actually. Okay. So nothing too much technical, but you will be able to understand the entire scenario. And whenever you will be appearing for any interviews also, right? If you have gone through this document, it will be very easy for you to explain, even if you have not done this kind of projects in your scenario. Okay. And this is a diagram also they have given. How will we migrate all this kind of migration activity? What are the do's and don'ts? Okay. So detailed solutioning also they have given what kind of solution you have to follow. Very detailed diagram. Okay. So this kind of a diagram also you can draw whenever you are explaining to your interviewer or any clients, right? And these details they have given here in very detailed way. So for that reason, whenever you are going for a migration also, what kind of data migration will you doing, how to do those details, you will be finding in this guide. Okay. This is for the reason it will be very helpful. And also they tell the steps actually, very high level steps. Whenever you are migrating such things, what are the steps? What is the step 1, step 2, step 3? So nowhere, no other document will explain you all these things in detail except this document. Okay. So this is where the 17 steps here they have followed. Okay. And that will be very helpful for your projects. This is where your implementation design principle, this is one of the document, but there are some other documents. So you just go to this site and type payroll in the control F under SAP SuccessFactors Employee Central Payroll, whatever the documents are there, whether it can be integration document. I think there are 2 documents only. One is for integration, another one is for migration. Okay. These 2 documents are very handy and you just go through that. So if you have any question, highlight that in that document and you feel free to ask them in the community. This is again one of the another partner company with SAP. They have worked and they prepared this document, okay, based on their experience and all, right? So this is very simple, like a bank master, how to do a bank master application, how to do a cost center. It's a very common question. When any interview, they will definitely ask this question: how do you do a cost center application? How to do a bank master application? How to do a work schedule, input type 7 application? How to do a payroll posting after it is done? Okay, have you ever used MDI services? Which is a very new one. Okay, master data integration services, very new one. Okay, whether you have done using those services or not. Okay, definitely this kind of things they will be asking, and here they have explained everything. Okay, so related K, all related KB also they have included. If any during the implementation, if you're having any problems, challenges, what KBs to follow. Okay, you don't have to spend a lot of time in the research. Rather, follow this document strictly, and it will be very helpful for you. Okay, so this is just thought of sharing with you. Generally, I call it in the day 4 now. So this is a process. So what to summarize what we have seen, process is 3 things. In process library, we have seen process flows, process diagrams, leading practices. Then ALP stands for architectural leading practices. RDP stands for implementation design principles. Okay, so why I am stressing all this before you go to the implementation guide? Because this is very easy to consume. Okay, these documents. Okay, not many documents are more than 100 pages. But if you go to the implementation guide, actually, generally people get sleep actually. So more than 500, 1,000 pages of document, very difficult to generally to follow. Okay, but if you have understood these things, so whenever you go into implementation guide, a lot of topics you can skip. Okay, you can skim through because already you have covered, understood those concepts in this guide. Okay, so for that reason, I recommend. This is again a task for you. Maybe you can take your time for 2 to 3 weeks and prepare notes for all the documents. Maybe you can post in the platform itself. That is the thing.
Can I get the links for ALP and IDP also, please?
Yes. I will do that immediately. Otherwise, I will forget.
Yeah.
ALP. And very few consultants, only 5% consultants I have seen from my experience, they follow these things judiciously. Otherwise, very generally, people directly jump into the implementation guide, randomly they do the things, and the project gets messed. And when the project gets messed, actually, generally people come to the lead and other people, then struggle happens there.
Yeah,
Okay, but if you have followed this thing systematically, right, you will
yeah.
never fall into this trap actually.
I am little very organized, so
Yes. So that is because everybody, because you, whenever you are doing some, because 95% people do in a different way. If you're not organized, if you're not systematic, right, very difficult, this kind of a project. Let's say if
yeah,
it's a small project, you can manage it. But if
yeah,
you're currently I'm managing a project of 200 crore budget. Okay, so
sure.
it is a very huge project for 3 years actually. So we have a
Yeah.
lot, around 200 people are working on that project. Okay,
Oh,
150 around technical consultants, 50 functional and all. Very difficult. Otherwise, if you do not know anything, is nil, little bit everything about it, even if you're not going deep, but at least if you're not aware of, some people, they will do something which you are not aware of. At the end,
yeah,
client will suffer, right?
true.
And there will be an escalation. Okay, so if
Yeah,
something
yeah,
happens, because it's a very sensitive project, right? Payroll is something very sensitive. Okay,
yeah,
even if one
definitely.
paisa or 1 euro, either
Yeah,
ho gaya gal, so it is
I know,
done.
I know.
People,
So,
right? Payroll is very sensitive always.
yeah,
Okay.
definitely.
So you
Yeah,
got the two, this feeling, right?
yeah. I've copied it in
Okay.
Word document also.
No way, no worries, actually.
Yeah,
Even I will be sharing those things on
yeah,
the platform as well. But for the timing, for a quick reading, you can. Okay. And
yeah.
also, I think for EC payroll, that do not offer at this present the star badge. But for any other modules that they have also, I have not completed this thing, but there is a SAP also promoting this, that if you complete the reading of these materials, they will be giving some badges actually, some
Oh,
certification, not
okay.
certification, some badges actually they're offering. Yeah, for
Badges.
this
Yeah.
module, they've activated this not for EC payroll, but for other modules they have activated like EC onboarding LMS and all these things. Okay, so
Okay,
that is
okay.
something anyone can do it, even if not a partner consultant, still anyone can do it. So you
Okay.
can go through this link
Yeah.
and you can find it out. So now coming to any other question you have before we go to our hands-on today?
No, Niladri, it's clear for me. Thank you.
Okay, well. So now, generally, this is a 5 to 25 asynchronous, but do not do it. Actually, asynchronous means generally I give people who want to do the fast track. Generally, they go for the payroll videos and all. But anyway, for payroll, as generally, I also do every year or every hackathon. I also have such kind of a live sessions. Okay, even if no students or one student is there, still I continue with that. Okay, so with that philosophy, we will start today with the EC payroll, the payroll control center part we will start with. Okay, because I will be following this guide, the guide which I was telling to you, the
Yeah.
admin guide. If you have seen the admin guide, payroll control center is there, okay, which is in the beginning itself. Okay, so I have opened everything, so I will just close one by one.
Yeah.
It will otherwise be clear. Yeah,
Yeah.
so this is guide, not at the right. Admin guide, I will just open it. Only that guide we will be following now.
Yeah.
And I have already downloaded that guide. This is the guide which I was talking about,
Yeah.
and the payroll control center which I was talking about, right? So here,
Yeah.
what I will do, we will be having a specific, this is again a very comprehensive guide. We will be directly, I will be showing you a few things scenario, and we will be going to a system and we will try to understand. Okay. So now coming to the, when it comes to PCC, we have approximately 21 exercises. Okay. So we will
Okay.
be doing everything in this. And like, except the first one you're already aware of. This is not a PCC thing, rather it's a EC thing. How to
Yeah.
hire a new employee. You are
Yeah.
super familiar, right?
Mm,
So now coming to the PCC configurations, when we comes to configuration,
mm.
while explaining the hands-on itself, I will be explaining the concept. Okay, so there will be no, so that you understand the theory as well as the practical, both side by side. Okay, so today we will start with the first one, first exercise, verifying the declustered results. So it's very technical terminology. Have you heard about this term, declustered results, somewhere earlier?
Like you're breaking down the complex things into simpler things, is it? In one of your
Yeah.
videos, I have gone through this,
Yes,
to be
yes.
honest.
Yeah, I understand. I understand. I explained. So you can watch that video once again. Okay.
Yeah.
But to brief you, so let's start with the exercise, then you will be able to understand much more better. Let me go to the system and we will see that exercises. So the idea is in payroll, we have very complex, whenever we are storing your payroll results. Okay, this is actually your complex, very complex table. We use it in the complex, and whenever you are doing any kind of a customization, it is very difficult to read those data. Okay, that's the idea. Okay.
Yeah.
So for that reason, what SAP has done actually, so they have in for all those complex results, payroll results, instead of going through that, rather they simplified those results. Okay, what they have done for that, so they declustered. Okay, so they means they've broken those payroll results into very simple way. So that is the idea of a payroll, I will say, cluster or declustering. Okay, mind breaking one thing to simple, just like if you are having a very big task. Okay,
Yeah.
you divide into different chunk of tasks. Okay, right. So let's say you have to write a book actually. Okay, so you to write a book, at least you should know the chapters. What are the chapters you will be writing? Let's say you are having 10 chapters. You write one chapter, then you finish it. Write second chapter, you finish it, right? So this is the way actually you break it down. So that is actually the philosophy behind it. And same principle is also applicable whenever we are having this concept called your decluster results. So let me log in. Let me, because this is for the second time I'm logging in. Let me check it out. What is the ID password as well? Let me, this is the one. Okay, so ID will be, this is HRS65. My group is, let me note it out down here, HRS6504. Welcome one. This is the password. Let me log into the system. System is visible, right? The SAP EC payroll.
Yeah, it's visible.
This is a GY only. So let me log in.
Yeah.
HR H6504. The password will be welcome. Yeah, welcome to one. Sorry, is it any hyphen was there? I think hyphen was there.
hyphen 04.
Mm-hmm. 04. Welcome. Okay, so we have entered into the payroll control center. So what we will be doing here before we go to the other topics. So let me give you some brief overview. Already you can see these are already in my user menu, but it is already because it's a predefined system. Generally, whenever you'll be getting an access, you may not have all these things in a favorite like this. You may have to make them favorite. Okay?
Yeah.
So that is something you have to do. But when it comes to the configurations and all, you will be finding here everything is now in my system under this PCC. Okay, everything whatever I'll be doing directly I'll be running from here. Okay. So what I will do, we will be going simple. Before I go to the text specific exercise, I will explain a few things here. There is something, let's say gateway services. Let me check it out. What extra is there? There's nothing. PCC configuration workbench. Okay, this is something. It was not earlier there. Just let me check it out. Okay. So this is specific to US actual. I see there are reports based on the process. Okay, anyway, this is I will be coming into later on. But I'm just looking at, because this is something you can see the configuration workbench. Okay, so previously it was in a different way because you have to go through the SPROs and all. Now they have brought it to here. Okay, so some of the changes they have done. So they keep on improvising this, all these things. Okay, so let me go there to the back. So we will start with, and also these two things we will be seeing in the payroll control center. One is payroll control center manage configurations. This is something which will take you to a, okay, so I think it will ask for a link. Let me check it out if you are having that. Okay, rescue 913. HRS 65. Let me try the same password works here.
Yeah.
You'll not be getting such kind of things in your live environment. because live environment will be always single sign-on will be there.
Yeah.
So you don't have to put in your user ID password not many times. Yeah, it is working. So this is again, as I speak, I am actually validating. Before this session, I have not validated anyone. Okay, there can be some setting. Okay, but anyway, this kind of configurations, which is actually, if you can see, ideally this will be done in the success factor. Okay, so actually what I'm doing, I'm navigating this thing from a backend. Okay, but ideally in your success factor, if it's an integrated environment, this will be a success factor screen, not a SAP screen. Okay, so this will be a success factor screen where exactly you will be getting all those idea. But anyway, there are some prerequisite. I will be checking it out. But let's start with today's exercises. Okay. So today's exercise is verifying a decluster results. Okay. So why decluster result? As I say that whenever you are actually simplifying your payroll results, because payroll results are always in SAP, they are stored in a cluster table. Okay, we have a varieties of table. So SAP call it a transparent table. Transparent tables means very easy. Row and columns very easy to understand. Okay. And if you ask to a developer, they can write very easy report. But when it comes to the like payroll data and all, they get stored in a cluster table. And it is not very straightforward to write a code or suppose you ask an ABAP developer to write a code, write a report, it is very difficult. Sometimes, so for the reason, we have to decluster the results, okay, to make it simple and so that it will be very easy for you to navigate. And ABAP also can develop those reports very easily. So that is the context actually, but more details you'll be finding in one of my YouTube videos where I have taken one around half an hour session on that. But from that point of view, what is the key task? So in SAP, we have to understand, we have to always, it's not mandatory, but it is a good best practice to have the cluster on. So we have to verify and decluster has been done on the system, and it should be synchronous declustering. Okay, so how we'll be navigating? So we will go to the SPRO. Let me try that. SPRO. SAP reference IMG. I will go there. And you remember one thing here. So whenever you are doing any kind of payroll control center related configuration, it will not be directly in your country specific payroll. It will be coming under international payroll, but it is applicable for all other, whatever the country you are doing. So there you have to fix, like for any specific country, you have to provide their country code. So, but it will be inside your international payroll. So if I go there, so it will be inside. If you see the path here, payroll international, declustering payroll. So as we go to the payroll here, inside that, we have to go to the payroll international. It will be towards the end. Yeah, payroll international. And inside the payroll international, we do have your declustering tools. Yeah. Can you see that? Declustering tool. This is the one.
Yeah.
Okay. So here, if I go here, nothing much. So it is very one-time activity. So you have to first of all define settings for declustering tools. And you can also, I will recommend, if you go through documentation here as well, what does it mean? So they explain here. Okay, so what you should be doing, okay, what is the requirement, okay, all the things will be here. But from a configuration point of view, you have to go here. So you can see it is already switched on. Okay, so what you have to do, if it is switched on, it is well and good. Okay, so what they are saying, verify that declustering has been turned on in the system. Okay, so in my system, it is already turned on because it's a live system. Okay, only thing is you can see the switch options here. Yeah, switch on or switch off. Two things only will be there. So in my case, it is already switched on. Okay, so that is S. Okay, and here in the cluster table, you can see, as I was explaining to you, we have a transparent table, we have a cluster table. Okay, in SAP, so we have, these are the different cluster table we have in the SAP. Okay, SAP HR specifically, like PCL1, PCL2, PCL3, like these are the different cluster tables. And this one is for PCL2, this for this cluster, and DB connection. So in the live environment, you will be connecting to a right DB. So at present, it is not in my system. Okay. But if whatever the DB or database you are using, that you have to connect. So that is the only configuration we have to do. This is one-time configuration. After that, you don't have to come back here. Okay. So now after understanding this is the first activity. That is task one is clustering is turned on. Okay.
Yeah.
So now very simple activity. Now second task is verify country specific table. So what we have to do? So from the same location, we have to register a payroll results table to be declustered and verify the following tables exist as an entry. So what I have to do? Second step. So this is the second task. Register payroll results tables to be declustered. Okay, so I will execute that. So in a typical payroll project, generally the results table definitely we want to be actually to be declustered. So what you have seen here, there will be a lot of tables here. Okay, so one thing you will be seeing here in the left hand side, these are the cluster table. The right hand side, that is your simple transparent table. Transparent means these are the simple table where if you do any kind of reporting or any kind of customization, if you have to access any report, you can always do that. Okay, so how does it start? Okay, so if you see here, for this is a common table. RT is a common table, results table, right? WPVP is again a very common table. Okay, so these are common tables here. Okay, so these are already registered. Suppose if you want to see for me further, okay, suppose if I'm not doing any new entry, but if you want to do, okay, simply you have to click that new entry and select whatever the table you want. Okay, and after that, suppose let's say I want to do this BT table, okay, it's a time related table, and the transparent table it will be like suppose if you are to try to save it, automatically can you see automatically in the backend of backend, whatever you are seeing the backend, but in the backend of backend, SAP is already pre-programmed certain things. As soon as you select that particular table, automatically there is a prefix, it was added to that particular table, BT, and before that P2RX underscore. Okay, this is a cluster ID, RX is a cluster ID, and there is this is automatically registered. That means whatever tables you want to do, okay, based on your requirement, that you can register those tables, okay, and by default it actually comes as a blank, okay, but as a payroll consultant, it is your job that you, after doing that activation, means turn down the clustering, declustering is on, you have to verify whatever your requirement. Mostly we do the RT table, results table, definitely we will do that. But after that, still, if you have anything based on a requirement, whatever table you wanted, okay, let's say I want another table, let's say our MOD or anything, the CRT table also I will want it. Okay, cumulative results table. Okay, as soon as I save it, automatically it is coming it. Okay, so P2RX here. So you don't have to fill up the transparent table. Simply you give a registration for this table name. Automatically, SAP will take care that this is the transparent table. Whenever this is already the declustering switch is on, automatically it will be taken care whenever there is a payroll run is happening. So definitely there will be also results in the transparent table, and accordingly your technical consultant, they can bring in and they can report these data points, right? So that is the understanding. Okay. So got it? Any question here? Very simple process.
Yeah, so this P2RX, the reference, the prefix that is taking is maybe from the cluster table and cluster ID. So PL2, so it's picking P2, and then cluster ID is RX. So maybe that is taking from both the cluster table.
That is again SAP you have to ask to SAP in that case. But RX is for sure. RX is taking from the cluster ID. But some kind of naming convention they are following. Okay, which we do not have any control. Okay. But this is how actually they are bringing in. Okay, so you cannot have a control here because it is already pre-programmed. Okay, only thing is we have to just switch on, and whatever the registration we have to do, simply we do that. Nothing more than that. Okay. That is the thing. This is something very simple process. And you can, if you want to read about it, you can always go to the documentation, how they are doing it. Okay. Always you can go through, and same thing they have tried to explain here. Okay. What they are actually the meaning of it and all. With an example they have given. Okay. So that is something you can always read through. Okay. So this is something. Second step. Registering the payroll country specific results. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, Next one is verify country independent table. Okay, so there can be some tables which are not specific to your any country. Okay, so how you can do that? So, for that reason, so what you can do, you have to go to the SM30 and verify this particular table. Let's check it out. What is in the store? SM30. We will go to that particular table which they have mentioned. And let's see, maintain. HR cluster table. So for this table, they are asking which is the cluster table. Okay, navigate to the SM30, check this, verify that synchronous declustering has switched on. Go back to this transaction SM30, this, enter the following, verify that it's existing entry. Okay, let's check out the solution, what exactly they are meaning it. Okay. So the task one, actually, so there are two parts of it. This is exercise guide. I will be sharing this already in my platform. Again, I will be sharing this guide with you. Okay, so what they are asking actually, the first one we have already seen, right? The synchronous declustering which you have already seen. Similarly, the this is also country specific. These are the three things generally we do, but here they are given this RT is already, it was on, we have seen. So what they are saying here, when how to check a country independent table. So for that, you always, generally we all use PCL2 only. Okay, so the second table we use it for our EC payroll and all. So we have to check that PCL2 and what are the solutions them in the guide they are saying that only we have used. This is a particular thing. Even in the live implementation also we do the same thing. Okay, PCL2 and relation ID we will be using that CU, I think CU, yeah, CU. Yeah, so it is a predefined action, so we do not have any anything to do here. So if I go to CU here, yeah. So once we go there, we go further. So this is the same thing. Okay, so you can see previously we have seen PCL to another cluster ID we have seen RX. Did you remember?
Yeah,
we have not seen the CU. If you go to the CU also, you have to ensure this is switch on. Okay. This is something they are expecting in this thing. Okay, verify that synchronous declustering has been switched on. So we have verified this is a synchronous declustering. They are saying it is switched on. Okay, this is already we have seen it. So now we have to do the same thing again in the same table. Same transaction code, but another table we'll be checking it out for another table. So we will verify that. Yeah, so this is a table. Let me enter space here. Go to maintain. And which cluster table? Same thing, PCL2 and CU will be verifying. PCL2. Yeah. Relationship ID CU, and we will check it out. You can see that is the table name in cluster is already there. So they are asking to check. And the cluster table is the eval period, and the transparent table is your T2RX eval period, whether it is there or not, verify. Okay, so we can see that we are confirming that PCL2 is there, CU is there, and for that eval period we are having a entry. Okay, that is the same simple exercise. In this exercise, nothing to, we have not entered anything because it was already configured for us. Okay, but in a typical project, you may or may not have this configuration predefined. Okay, so you have to use that particular table. Okay, and this is something, this is a kind of a help, we call it a helper table. Okay, just like in any kind of a vehicles or a public transport, we have a helper kind of a thing. So there are normal payroll results table and there are helper table. We call it, these are the tables which will be helping us to the main payroll results. Okay, so that for the reason they have given this name, helper table, current employment table. That's the thing. Okay, this is something we have to verify in this configurations. This is clear what we are doing here.
Yeah.
Very simple process. In the implementation also, we have to do this exactly the same thing. Okay, so these are the three tasks we have to perform in the for this particular exercise, unit number 2. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, next one is a very important one. This is also a one-time activity. So the first exercise which we have done, verifying declustered results. Once your implementation has already started, you don't have to switch off again. Otherwise, it will impact. Okay. This is like a just your inner home also. You have a main switch of electricity, right? So that you have to switch on with unless and until if it is not needed, we generally do not switch off that, right? So this is a very crude example, but in terms of payroll also, we never switch off this activity. Okay, so otherwise it will be causing a problems in your payroll. Okay, so now same thing also for a payroll control center background jobs. We have to do a lot of means we run a transaction, and there are certain activities we have to see whether those are, or there are few activities we have to perform. We have to confirm that whether we are those jobs are done or not. So why it is required? Because in payroll, compared to any other modules, we process a lot of data, isn't it?
Yeah.
So it can be tax data, it can be payroll, your compensation data, a lot of waste types we process, there are calculation happens, right? So for that reason, there are background jobs to support it. And background jobs, how do they help it? It is just like you can think of, I'll be giving another crude example. That is like they play the role of housekeeping. Okay. So in any, whether you are going for any hospitality industry or hotel or a restaurant or in a flight also, there are dedicated staff. Okay. There are main staffs. Okay. Who are the leading and maybe serving or those things. And there are people who are doing a housekeeping stuff, okay, on a regular basis. Otherwise, very difficult to manage those things, right? Same concept, same analogy. If you compare, there are some main jobs. Main job of our EC payroll is to process the payroll, check those validations. Those are some of the main jobs, okay. But to make it happen in the front end and all, there are certain people in the sense here, the jobs actually, there are certain programs in the back end.
Yeah.
They help it so that the front end will work very nicely. Okay, very efficiently those programs will run and there will be no problem. Okay, it is just like a maintenance. They do a maintenance activity. Even if you have seen any internet banking, okay, any bank website also, or in the any public transport, any website, they do have a maintenance period. Maybe in the midnight, 2 hours or 1 hour, right? They will be going to a maintenance mode where all the self-healing activity will happen so that the system will run efficiently in the upcoming days, right? The same thing also happen when it comes to Employee Central Payroll. We do have, they have not explained here directly, they have jumped into the transaction and all these things, but there are certain jobs, we call it a Daemon job, which is nothing but your background jobs. They do all kind of housekeeping activities in the backend. Okay, so that we are going to perform today in this exercise. So let's then get started. So how you'll be doing? So you can access it from an easy access menu. Otherwise, you can also access it from this transaction. Okay, so you can make it this transaction also. So I will directly go to the transaction. You let me go there. Otherwise, in the main page of SAP also, in the here you can go through that. Okay, easy access menu, HR payroll, international. Again, this is you have to understand. These are all international things. So you have to go there. So let's say I will go to the other menu. Let's say, let me check it out. Okay, it should be there. HR, the transaction, PCC, HR professional, landing page, PCC administrator, declustering, PCC my processes, configurations, my teams, my policies, lunch and WPC, user manual. This is my menu. Okay, get the services. Okay. But anyway, this is a dummy system, so I will just directly go to the transition. But the same thing, you can also go through that path that I'm not able to figure it out here. So let me go there to the directly to transaction. Yeah. So this is a transaction. So everything we are seeing is a green actually. Okay, but in ideal scenario, whenever you will be starting in a project, everything will be red actually. Okay.
Okay.
So because these are already pre-configured system, so I will just show you what exactly you have to do. The first one is first maintain username for batch processing. Okay, so here what you have to do, so you have to use your user ID. So here it is already there's a user ID already has been used, batch user. but whatever the user ID you have been logged in, that user ID will be there. Okay, so that you have to do. The first is maintain username for batch processing. Whose ID? Generally the super admin ID. So when which ID you are using for Employee Central Payroll super admin, that ID you will be using in the general the batch user. That is very simple. You have to just identify which user, identify that name, okay, the user ID, and put it there. Okay, this is the first thing in the batch processing. Who is responsible for the batch job?
Yeah.
Now, coming to the second one is very important one. So here, maintain recurrence of the Daemon jobs. Okay, as I was saying, there are background jobs which will be helping us in self-healing, or you can say housekeeping activities of the backend. Okay, there are configurations. So here you can see this background job has already started. Okay, so but whenever it is not been started, it will be showing as a wrong. Okay, so I will not be changing it because it will impact. Okay, otherwise you can see you will be it is editable. Recurrence is 1 minute. Okay, what does it mean? That means every 1 minute, okay, it will check is there any job failing or is there any okay, so the maintenance is a continuous process. Okay, this is what the meaning of your this particular recurrence. So it will be maintained as a generally as a best practice. SAP also recommends finding in the guide as well. Okay, we have to make it sure this is the maintain as a 1 minute or like that. Okay, you can see it should be recurrence time is 1 minute and BG waiting. Okay, BG waiting, what does it mean? Like suppose a process is not completed, you should not be in a hurry. Okay, at least you should be busy. Wait for a 1 minute. Okay, suppose if anything is failing, okay, don't say that it is failed immediately. Rather wait for the next cycle to happen so that in the next cycle it could be solved. Okay, so that is the meaning of this busy waiting. You don't have to like wait all those things. Rather, every 30 seconds it will again check. Although the recurrence will happen 1 minute, but still in every 30 seconds, if there is a timeout is happening. Okay, let's say whenever you're running a payroll, it may happen that it can be a timeout because of the long payroll data. But it will be helping you. This Daemon job, it will not allow you to do that. Rather, it will recheck every 30 seconds and every 1 minute it will run. Okay, and what is that status? You can find out here in this. Okay, so the job name is, as we say, this is a Daemon job. So for that reason, in the job name also, the first 3 letter of Daemon, DAE is coming up. Okay, generally, if you're going for certifications and all this, generally they ask this kind of a question: which job is responsible for maintaining the recurrence? So generally, this is the question. Okay, you have to put it this name, PYD underscore DAE underscore process. So this is the name and this is the user ID, whatever we have been using and all. And this is only one-time activity. You have to make it 1 minute. You have to make it 30 seconds. This is what SAP recommends. Okay. So I have never experimented with these things. It can be increased or decreased, but whatever SAP best practices recommended, I have followed this in my project. And very straightforward. You don't have to, and it is a one-time activity. Once it is started, so you never stop it. Okay. So it will, you have just, whenever you're doing for the first time, after doing this, click the start button and it will keep on. Once this green button is activated in this left-hand side, it will keep on doing it. So that is the idea. Got it? Daemon jobs. Any question here?
No, NILADRI. It's fine.
Yeah. Yeah. So now we will move to the
NILADRI,
next. Any?
Sorry, yeah. Actually, I have a delivery for the groceries. Sorry about that.
Okay.
So Shai has come. Can you just go quickly and pick it up and come back? It'll
Yes,
just
yes, yes.
5
Yeah.
minutes. Yeah.
No problem. No problem. I will take a pause. Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, sure. Thank you.
You're welcome. Again. Okay. So we were talking about the background jobs, right? So in the same transaction, we have other steps as well, right? So the next one is that we have another job because it's a series of jobs, not only the Daemon jobs. We have also, there is something called event handler jobs. Okay. So for that also, if I go there, let me go there. So for this also, it is a fix that you have to schedule it for 10 minutes. Okay. So that, because what are the events? There are so many events in the payroll. Okay. So in the backend, whenever you are processing the payrolls and all, there are so many events which work along with that. Okay, and these are all standard process. Do not have to apply or do any kind of changes, customization, nothing like that. These are all standard reports, standard jobs rather, I would say. Okay, so for that reason, you can see these are all starting with SAP. Okay, so these are all standard jobs. And for event handler, the job is 10 minutes. It should happen. Okay, so these are like a different crew. Okay, just like in a hospitality industry, which example I was giving, there are different housekeeping also. There are a lot of categories, right? So similarly, here also we have different category of jobs. Demand jobs. We do have event handler jobs. There is a regular wrap up. Wrap up means they will be completing. They are the finisher actually. Okay, so these are the different types of jobs. And for everything, we have a specific minutes. How should be the recurrence? So again, for event handler jobs, in a typical system, when you are starting, it has not been started. So simply you have to maintain 10 minutes and hit the start button. And once your start button you have clicked, you can see the booking status is booked. That means already this job has started and it will continue perpetually. You don't have to stop this job anytime, right? So once it is activated, again, it will be a green button will be there, right? So this is the event handler, and same thing will be also seeing, I believe, in the exercise also they might have talked about. I think this exercise is, okay, it is not there, but it is ideally 10 minutes. So where exactly Daemon jobs is generally 1 minute and 30 seconds, timeout check. And the wrap up jobs is for 3 hours. Okay, generally for after everything is done, your wrap up jobs. So where exactly you can see the recurrence is 3 hours. Okay, so then you have to register it. And once it is registered again, we never deregister it unless and until if you are leaving SAP, right? So this will be one-time activity again. So these 3 jobs will be parallelly running, although their sequence means their recurrence is different, right? But still we continue with them. Okay, so that is a typical process. These are 3 jobs we have to activate. Now coming to the next one is important one also. Maintain user list for master data maintenance. Okay, so whenever this kind of a jobs are running, who are the users, okay, who are responsible for maintaining master data? So generally what we do here, we give the super user ID, not everyone. So generally the super user IDs we provide, and those IDs generally we give it so that you can add them. And even if you are running the job and you can, this ID, people having this ID, they will be able to perform those activities. Okay, so that is the thing. I just thought it can be multiple IDs. So you can see there is ECP1, ECP2, a lot of IDs are here. Okay, so maybe you can utilize in your payroll department. It's a very big department, let's say. Okay, then you can actually add those IDs. It can be 1 ID, it can be 5 IDs and all. So that I think that they have not mentioned in the exercise. So you verify the ID for the user list in the master data. So we can have HR H65 our IDs as well. We can maintain here 1 ID. Yeah, HR H6508 is there. Ours is a 04 actually. So let me try. Okay, HR H6504 is already there. Okay, so I don't have to enter it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, whatever the IDs you have logged in, okay, or the super user, okay, that you have to maintain here. Okay, so that's the idea, nothing much. So once this activity is done, next one is a very easy activity: generate general process ID for HR processes. Okay, so what will happen in the next process? If you go to the next one, okay, so this is already generated for us. We don't have to. But whenever you are looking into a new system, what will happen? This process ID is you have to click the generate button. Okay, then it will create an ID, and that will be for your entire program or your entire project. That will be the ID, process ID for your entire HR process workbench. Okay, that is, I think it is already there in the, yeah, same thing. Process ID should have a number assigned. It will automatically generated by the system, and that is the 6th exercise, 6th task in this exercise. Okay, so this is the second exercise which we have done. So, and other than that, there are 2 other activities which is not part of the exercises, but you should know. That is your maintaining a database access option. Okay, so here again, we have the default is a SQL join, and the other one is also there, but we do not use the other one. Okay, we use the join in SQL. This one only, you join in SQL, and this is the database access. Generally, we also use SQL languages. This is again, we are never going to change all these things. Just as a protocol, we have to utilize this default join. Then last one is maintaining a general setting. So this is something actually, even if it is there, even if SAP is supporting attachment, generally we do not select this. Why? Because if you are selecting an attachment allowed, what will happen in your payroll? A lot of documents actually people can upload. From the EC side, it is fine. But from a payroll administrative point of view, if they upload a lot of things, right, then it will definitely cause a problem. Okay. And also for that reason, generally we generally do not tick this box. When I say attachment, it is not from an employee point of view. Okay, it is from an administrative point of view. Let's say as an I'm a payroll administrator or a payroll manager. I have observed for one employee, there is some issue. I just make some note, and generally what the people do, they take a snapshot or they put it in somewhere in the laptop or in the system like that. But generally it is not recommended. Okay, that is the attachment. This attachment is referring to that, not your employee attachment. Employee attachment you can always do. Okay, as an employee, suppose I have some reimbursement, I can definitely attach those proofs, any hotel bills, any kind of one-time payment or whatever is happening. Definitely I can do it. Okay, but when it comes to the basically from a payroll administrative point of view or payroll manager point of view, generally we do not encourage those things. We have a note making option, but it is not, although attachment option is there, but generally organization, they do not utilize this function, and I have never used this. Okay, even SAP also there, although the option is there. Okay, but people can misuse or sometimes, right, for that reason we do not allow it. Okay, and maximum number of rows for a spreadsheet download, this is 50,000. Okay, so you can set it up. That means whenever you're downloading any reports or anything specific to your payroll and all, that is the maximum. You can increase or decrease, but for that we have to refer the implementation guide, what is the maximum they have given. But for this is a best practice, this is generally 50,000. Suppose you are having some data which is more than 50,000, definitely it will stop. Okay, then you have to increase. But I have not seen many, even if it's not a very big organizations and all. So otherwise, 50,000, 60,000, that is the maximum actually they allow the how many rows it can have in a single spreadsheet download. Okay, otherwise it will be having a single down, second download, third download like that. That is something in the general settings, and more details will be finding the implementation guide as well. I think there is no exercises for it. Okay, so they do not in this exercise, they do not have asked for us to do that. So this is something. These are all one-time activity. You don't have to come again and again. Okay. And similarly, there is a lock entry. Lock entry, you know, like suppose if there is any lock action happen, okay, then you have to come here and you delete that lock. Usually we do like multiple locks happen. Suppose multiple users have logged in. Okay, for any process that table get locked due to some reason. So in those cases, if any lock is happening, then you have to come here and you have to delete that lock. Okay, that is the only functionalities here. Okay, analytics configuration. These are all, although part of EC payroll, but this is a very generic thing in any SAP module. It happens. So for that reason, we do not have any exercises, very detailed exercises for it. Okay, so this is clear, right? Any questions regarding the background jobs?
So, NILADRI, this lock entries, while running the payroll, some record gets locked, right? So, is that the one? So, we can do this via a backend SM12 also, right? We can unblock
Yes,
the.
yes.
Okay.
Yes. That is SM12. That is always SM12 only. But whatever I have shown to you, this is a little different. This is from an ECP specific thing. And if you have any logs related to policies, process, I never faced this kind of a challenges. Okay. Unless and until if you're having for 20, 30 different types of policies, 20, 30 different types of process, then it's only. But mostly if you're a single country, if you're implementing for single client, single entities, this kind of log, I have not seen for the last 3-4 years of my specifically into this PC payroll. I have never came across this kind of problems, but the options are there. Okay.
Yeah.
So you have a troubleshooting for that. We have a problem. We have a solution for that. So that's the idea. Okay. So
Yeah.
that is the, with that note, actually what will be directly now going to the admin guide just to refresh what we have seen, where it is actually covered. Okay. So we are talking about the payroll control center today, and we have not gone to the payroll control center front end. We are still in the back end part of it. And as you say, where you will be reading in the admin guide, if you go through, and in that guide, you will be finding definitely process manager, who is a payroll administrator. That is again a user stories which I have told to you to go through. And this is the payroll process that talked about. The front end part we have not discussed. I will just go to the other part of it where exactly it is covered. I will tell you. My document from payroll. Then these are all front end. Front end we'll be discussing in the next session. So alert resolution. I think these are all front end part they talked about in the this thing. Okay. So
Yeah.
unresolved alert, unlimited alerts, return production payroll. Okay. So this is again a little bit old screen only. Still, they have not given a latest screen. Latest screen has been a little changed. Okay.
Yeah.
So here I think no, this is the managed process policies, one-click monitoring. I think it should be there in the implementation guide, in the admin guide, because it's a little technical. Let me check it out. In this guide, they have not given that. But where you will be finding, I will also point that this is not here. Policy. This is again all the front end they're talking about. Front end is very easy. I think it's not there. So while going to the admin guide, right? So you can relate to these screens and all, but it will be little different whenever you'll be seeing the actual screen. So
Yeah.
how means this actual screen we will be seeing in the next session. I will just having a quick, let's see, I will a quick check whether it is working or not for now. So whenever you'll be going to the PCC administrator, payroll control center administrator, right? There are two things. One is a manager. Whenever you're seeing a manager, it's a payroll manager. Whenever you're seeing an administrator, this is your nothing but your payroll administrator. Okay, so I will just show you one thing here, which is a payroll administrator screen. There are again old new, so I don't have to use the old one. Old one means which is in the document, admin document. Okay, but a new one you will be finding here. Let's say I will be going to see the alerts actually. Okay, what are my payroll alert? Alert
Yeah.
in the sense, suppose if any issues are coming up and all, I
Yeah.
should be able to resolve that by going to suppose. Let's see, at least you should be getting an idea. Okay, how again I forgot the ID. Let me log in. HRS 65. HRS 65 hyphen 04. Password is welcome one. So this is how it is loading. Yeah. So this is how your alerts will be looking like. So at present, okay, this is will be your success factor screen, not your SAP HCM screen. Okay. But
Yeah.
if you see, there is a link here, and this will be a success factor screen typically. And here there will be we will be seeing coming across this service. We call it service. Okay. So for everything, we have a service like payroll alert, we have a service for payroll processes and policies, we have a service, dedicated service. And for payroll control center alert management, we have dedicated service. This is the name of that service. Okay. In this way, we can identify to see the URL very carefully. Okay. So this will be the service which is dedicated for alert. Any kind of alert. Suppose if any alert is coming up in your dashboard, you will be seeing here. And if there is no alert, again, it will be seen here. Okay, this is one of the screen. Okay. Similarly, if you go back, let me go back again. I think I should be here. So this is a little tricky here. Okay, so this is one of the administrative screen. Suppose if I go to the team alert, let's see how does it different. So you can see there is another different screen. Okay. This the service also different. Okay, that is HRPY underscore PCC underscore EM underscore T underscore 2. So at present also I do not have any team structure. So what does a team mean? Suppose you are having a team of 10 people, and out of that, 2 people are looking after all the alerts related to the master data. Okay. So as a payroll administrator, you can make a team of those 2 people, and any issue comes up related to a master data, you can assign to them. Okay. So those alerts, you can just simply bring that those list from here, and you can assign those alerts to those team member. Okay, so that is the idea here, where exactly you can see these administrative screens and all, right? And same goes with here. This is an administrative screen. Other than that, let's say PCC My Teams, let's see how does it look like. Actually, I'm more familiar with success factor point of, but for that reason, it is not convincing. But in the demo system at present, this is the only thing. The limitation is there. At present, nothing has been configured. Okay, but it can be configured and it can be known. So for that reason, it is showing no team is available. Okay. So, but again, so that is something we have to follow again. We cannot do anything, something of our own also in this kind of demo environment. It's a guided demo environment. So whatever is there in this exercise, that only we can do. Okay, that's a limitation at this moment. Okay, but we will try our best. Okay, whatever possible way, and we will learn. Okay, so I will not be going to start a new topic today because we are already almost close to 2 hours. And what I will do, so just to recap, the action items on me, actually, I will be sharing this. Although I have said in those URL and all, I will be sharing that URL once in the platform. And also that user stories, two template, both the template, current template and to be template, Excel and this Word, both I will be sharing with you. Then your exercises point of view, you will be completing the PTO exercise, PTO guides in the before the next session, and put your queries. And similarly, complete those user stories, take your 1 week for time. And for ALP, IDPs, PL, you can take your 2 to 3 weeks because it's very heavy material. Okay. Those 3 you can take maybe 2 to 3 weeks. By March 1st, you should be able to complete that with your all kind of doubts, queries, whatever you are having. With that note, I think we are good to stop here today. And in the next session, what I will do, so I will be just showing you the plan as well. Meanwhile, I will also recommend to see the old video. Although there are few things in the YouTube. Okay. So if you go to the school.successlabs academy, and here, if you go to the, let me log in as a student, not as an admin, so that you'll be able to understand. But any of the videos, have you watched it? Old video?
I not here, but I have watched on the YouTube. Your channel.
YouTube is little older. YouTube is little older.
Okay.
2 years older. Okay, so you will be finding here it is almost 1 year or 6 month older kind of a stuff. Okay.
Okay.
So if you go here, my courses, and if you go to the specific to see payroll, although we are following the latest one, the recent recording, definitely I'll be sharing for your reference. But the old one also, there are some maybe from a Q&A point of view, maybe the student has asked some questions. Okay. Okay, because that will be helpful for you. So today's video will be put in here in Hackathon 2023. Session 4 will be, I will be putting here today's session. Okay. So what I will recommend, maybe whenever you're getting some time. Okay. So whatever today I also discussed, is the PTO guide, admin guide also there in the operation part of it. Okay. Job aid also there. Okay. Either you can download. This is a little old one, but follow the. I don't think there's much difference. Okay. But still you can refer. I will be updating always. This one is the recent one. But when it comes to implementations, right? So here you can see there are a couple of relations happened. Maybe some of them are repeating. So what usually people do, other students they do, so they can go through this. And let's say I was talking about preparing the backend system, which I had covered in the 6th session there. Okay. So before that, I have conducted these 3 sessions because at this moment I do not have that front end. Okay. So that student was having the front end. Okay. For that reason, you can always look into this. Okay, admin ops lab. Ops lab means it's operational things, right? So this is something you can always watch here and go here. I talked about, I think, that particular topic. So let me check it out. What is so those kind of roles systematically, because I think the system it was there. Okay, the little bit of change, but more or less similar. The configuration wise, if you will be finding. Okay. So I try to explain those. I think I have also covered hiring date also, means hard replication, employee replication, data replication I talked about. maybe if you are going through, you can also fast track out also. There is an option, just like YouTube video, you can also increase speed also, like 1.5 or 2x speed, just to have a glance. Okay, if you want to make it right. And also in this video also, if you find some of the question, okay, you can ask those questions. Okay.
Yeah.
So what you can also have a question, if any question by going through the video, you can always ask here also. Okay. That is something you can, whenever you're getting some time, just have a glance. Okay. To prepare backend system, you can compare what I have taught today, how it is different. It can be similar to the YouTube video, but here it will be more detailed actually. So it will be more detailed. I think someone has also asked this question. Yeah. But anyway, this is how some of the screen, this is the backend in the sense system. Actually, no, this is a little different one. This is not your backend system, so which I'll be covering. This one I have not covered today. This is something different actually. Okay, this is not a background job. This is more from an ECP point of view. Okay, but here payroll control center and all these details you can also go through. And whenever you're getting time, just have a glance. You don't have to really follow. You'll be following the hackathon strictly, but this is the old one. Not so difficult because not so different also. Nothing much. Only 5% to 10% might have been changed, but more or less a very similar thing. So whenever you get your time, just utilize that time.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Then with that note,
this session login will be there for me for my whole lifetime, right? So will you revoke because okay, fine, that's fine, because all the documents are very neatly aligned here, so I was just thinking
still I'm actually in process of work in progress. A lot of things you'll be finding here, like after track 4 you are seeing directly track number 16. Okay, so many people ask where are those track number 5 to 15. So still I'm updating. I keep on updating those things. So it is still, I am always work in progress, but definitely it will be more structured in the future as well.
Yeah, sure. Thank you so much.
Okay, welcome for your time. See you the next week. Saturday. Let's do it Saturday.
Saturday, sure. Thank you very much, NILADRI, and have a nice week. Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you. Bye-bye.